What food do you swear people only pretend to like? Live octopus. Does eating a creature that's actively trying to crawl out of your mouth as you eat it really taste so good that it's worth the trouble and choking hazard? Yeah, this would not be for me. I'm not even that excited about octopus that's already dead. I might be willing to murder my own chocolate cake in an immersion, but octopus? I think to some of the people who enjoy it, there might be some weird sadism, domination thing they have going on of like, yeah, I feel you squirming, can't do shit to me. Holy F, people do that? That just made me really sad. I eat meat, but I don't actively relish in the suffering. JFC, I have a theory that just about every culture has one food that is absolutely terrible, but was born out of poverty and necessity and became a staple and is still made even though there are better options available, because it's theirs. Because if it were good, other cultures would absorb it. By being bad, it stays true to its cultural roots. The youngest generation hates it and doesn't understand why people ever ate this. The middle generation still doesn't like it but eats it out of respect for tradition. The oldest generation loves it and relishes lecturing the youngest generation about why this food was made and why it's a tradition. Like lutefisk from Norway. Cod preserved in lye. A gummy tasteless mess. But beloved. I was super excited to try fry bread when we stopped to eat on a Native American reservation, but it was very underwhelming. Basically flour, water, baking powder deep fried, ultimate poverty food. It made me really think about what a lot of people on reservations still have to live on due to poverty. Surely pig intestines are an exception to your so-called rule. They're awesome. As long as you properly squeeze the shit out of them first. And by that I don't mean squeeze them hard, I mean literally get all the feces out before eating. Dried fish plus fried rice is good in the Philippines, especially when you eat with bare hands. Ugh, we have a dish like this in my family. Reception salad ... lemon jello, green cheese, canned pineapples, pecans, pimento, whipping cream. It is so gross, but my grandma has been making for forever and thinks everybody loves it. My dad and aunt who grew up with it do love it, but everybody else gets a small polite spoonful to push around on their plate on Thanksgiving and Christmas. Yeah, it has kutyalevs, dog soup, in Hungary. Don't be dramatic, it isn't made out of dogs, but before World War II it was a soup only made for dogs. But in the worst days, people had to eat what they had. And it was pretty cheap to make, although not good either. Spanish family. My grandparents both grew up incredibly poor in a farming village and as such learned not to waste any part of the animal. That means 11-year-old me woke up bright and early 6:30 a.m. at their house one morning and walked into the kitchen, and there's a whole foo pig's head in the fridge that my grandfather pulls out and starts preparing somehow. Absolutely scarring. Surströmming, that is fermented herring. I had surströmming in Sweden a couple of years ago. The smell was intense. They had to open it in the garden on a tree stump covered in plastic, and I'd been up until 4 in the morning drinking vast quantities of boxed wine. I couldn't back out, because it felt rude, but I wasn't looking forward to it. However, wrapped in some soft bread wrap, with boiled potatoes and onions, washed down with a restorative Prips blend, it actually wasn't that bad. The smell is something else. But the taste was just very fishy. Natto, a Japanese dish of fermented soybeans. With a taste, texture and smell that makes you wish human senses did not exist. Came here to say natto. My wife loves it. She orders it every time we get Japanese food, which is at least once a week, and every time I try it again, just to see if I'll enjoy it this time. Nope, I actually quite enjoy it. It's also super healthy. I swear it's probably one of those things where certain genes make coriander taste like soap and not an herb. Back when Iron Chef was a big thing, I mentioned to a Japanese neighbor that I was really intrigued by the natto episode. She invited my husband and me over for dinner and served us all natto. It has a texture like cold snot with beans in, and I thanked her for sharing it with us and ate every bite while swearing up and down that this was the only time I'd ever eat it. That was 15 plus years ago, and so far I've stuck to my word. Married to a Japanese lady. She loved the shit. Can confirm it looks and smells like shit smeared over rice. House rule states I must be made aware of when she is eating it so I can avoid being near it while it is being consumed. She has all my hifu kids eating too. A bunch of damn degenerates, I tell you. If you're Australian, it's actually not so bad and reminiscent of Vegemite. My high school Chinese teacher in America bought me some years ago when she learned I was homesick. Yeah, my mill once asked me to send a jar of fish guts to someone she knew in the US, and that was how I learned you can send fish guts to the US. It is challenging sometimes because a lot of the food doesn't register as food to me. My one son eats natto, my wife enjoys Okinawa-style pig ears. Only my oldest has tastes like mine. The worst is when you're out with co-workers, no one ever thinks to ask what you want. They just start ordering for the table, then act shocked when you don't eat the random stuff they ordered. Natto is a fantastic example of an acquired taste. The initial impression of it is revolting in pretty much every way imaginable. It's slimy, it smells horrible, it's sticky, and it doesn't taste anything like what you would expect beans to taste like. It's very easy to try it once and then say nope, never again. But then, you can say the same of coffee. Other than the smell. I've always thought that coffee smelled amazing, even when I was a little kid who, after trying it, literally spit it out on the floor and said I'm never touching this stuff again. Oh, how wrong you were, 7-year-old me, fat. Specifically the visible slimy fat on any cut of meat. Ever since I was a kid it's made me wanna vomit. The fat on chicken thighs or lamb or a big bit of steak. I cannot fathom how anyone thinks it's edible. Doesn't matter who I'm with or how fancy the occasion, if I accidentally put some in my mouth I have to spit out or I'll be sick. I'd spit that shit out in front of the queen, foie gras. If you're not familiar, it's basically engorged goose liver. They overfeed the goose and it basically gets a disease that makes its liver expand. They kill it, harvest the liver, and make the most disgusting thing known to man. I had it served with crackers. Definitely was not for me. Edit, by the way, they don't just overfeed the animal. They force a tube down their throats and forcibly feed them. It's actually pretty cruel. Kastyrkarl, an Icelandic dish made by taking a piece of shark meat and burying it underground to ferment it for up to 12 months. It has a smell of ammonia and the consistency of cream cheese. I highly doubt that anyone likes this, because fresh shark meat is poisonous and fermenting it is the only way of getting rid of the toxins. Cilantro. For the longest time, I just couldn't fathom why anyone would want to add the taste of dishwashing liquid to their food, but apparently, I'm in the minority of people who think it tastes like soap due to some genetic anomaly. I later learned that there are others like me who have actively acquired a taste for the herb. I think that they are just trying to look cool in front of their friends. I only tasted it twice, but hated it. At first I didn't know where that foul flavor came from. But then, the second time I tasted it, I looked for the source of the flavor, and I figured out that I knew every flavor in the hamburger I was eating, except for cilantro's. I don't know if I would call it a soapy flavor. For me, it tastes more like an extremely bitter flavor that just overruns any other flavor there is. Papaya smells and tastes like off-sea food. I thought it was supposed to be this sweet tropical fruit, so I bought one from the supermarket wrapped in plastic. Later on in the night I opened the fridge and was like, what the hell is that? Sniffed around and realized it was the papaya. Hyped myself up and decided to try it. It tasted fucking disgusting, like eating dirty raw seafood, and I gagged. I actually googled does papaya always taste like after trying it because I thought maybe I had some sort of papaya taste like gene, similar to my coriander tastes like soap gene. Check out our other videos and subscribe and leave your suggestions and experiences in the comments below. Have a great day.